Welcome back to the Press Club. Thank you very much for staying tuned to the program. I'm here with Kwame Joseph, and we're just going to wrap up right now. A couple of stories that we need to touch on. Rats in the city of Castries, a major eradication effort.
Yeah.
I mean, rats give me the creeps.
I used to live on Brazil Street. Rats in the city is no joke. These things are huge.
They are.
And they are ugly. And they are scary.
Yeah, they give me the creeps every time I talk about rats and frogs, you know.
No,
So
well,
it's a good thing that
they're making an effort to actually, they've had 2 meetings, and this week they actually went around trying to check down the areas where they think the rats breed, from the arcade to business spaces to restaurants. Because lately we're getting all these stories about people finding stuff in their bread and these rat stuff.
But you see, the problem is we are a nasty society.
We don't.
We are a nasty
our approach
society.
to taking care of our garbage is not the best. Because I mean, the guy from the Solid Waste
you're really diplomatic.
No, from
nasty.
Solid Waste Associate. I have a cousin, Zephyrus Joseph, the long distance runner. He actually runs along the route, so that's what he says. We are nasty because he sees the garbage along his route, and it bothers him severely. But he says it's improper garbage disposal is what's responsible for all these rats. When we have all the heavy rainfall and you see things are getting clogged up in town, because people just throwing their garbage in rivers.
How can you
remember when we have these heavy rains? You're seeing mattresses, you're seeing stoves, you're seeing fridges. I mean,
but Kami, it just baffles me how somebody can finish with a. Okay, I was at a Your Play walk last weekend.
For cancer, yes.
Yeah, well, earlier this week, Sunday. And you're given water. Okay, we get to Pigeon Point, and you finish with your water, and you just toss the bottle.
No, and
how exact? No, honestly, I can't imagine.
I bring that back to the way people
imagine.
raise their children. People get up from a restaurant, and they will not put their chair back under the table. They will leave. If you eating at a restaurant like
you're gonna leave everything right there.
If your stuff is in a tray, you can simply just discard the stuff in the bin and leave the tray on top. They won't do that. And nothing drives me crazier than when you're driving and somebody's in front of you and they toss something out.
Oh,
because it costs you nothing to put a nylon bag in your car and throw your garbage in the bag. And when you get to where you're going, just throw out the garbage bag.
Now, I have a serious problem with my wife, right? Because she uses like the pockets in the seats
to store the garbage
in the doors to store the garbage. I'm like, okay, when you come out, please take out the garbage with you. Because you put it there. Yes, we don't toss things, and we have that same issue. You know, every time I see somebody toss something out of the window and I'm behind them,
over them,
I'm just blowing. I'm like, how could you do that? They're not taking me on because they're ahead of me.
I'm throwing it out because if I don't do that, it won't give them something to do. No, your approach this is the wrong approach. You have to look at the fact that you are single-handedly responsible for leading to flooding in your country, to destroying the beautiful look of your country.
And
this
rats.
is your fault.
And rats.
The same rats that are putting stuff in your bread, you are causing them.
All right, next story, Carnival money. Carnival money is going to be paid tomorrow. July, August, September, October, November, 4 months later, but they're going to get their money.
Yes, they're getting paid tomorrow. More or less, I think the ceremony is supposed to be happening at the Baywalk Conference Room tomorrow night, about 6:30. The minister, who's not on island right now, is supposed to be there to actually address the relevant stakeholders and the winners of the prizes. As you know, in the Power Sucker Monarch, it's Superman HD first, Ambi second, Ricky T third. In the Groovy was Citizen John first, Ricky T second, and Ambi third. Yeah. So they're supposed to all get paid.
Well, you see, what I want to see, and I mean,
and Carnival,
I speak with
Calypso,
JJ.
of course. Let's not forget the Calypso, the bands.
Everybody's getting paid. Everybody's getting their money tomorrow. What I have an issue with, and I speak to JJ very regularly, I really thought that this committee, Carnival Stakeholders Committee, was in place for
a long haul.
Some time, for 3 years at least. But then, no, it's just 1 year. It's just, and we keep on doing the same thing over and over.
And
when they put them in last year, when they put them in last year, it was just for that carnival. And at that point, I thought they were there for a couple of carnivals.
No.
When they put them in this year, just before carnival, it was for that carnival again. And I think, we see the benefits of it. Why not just put a stakeholder committee in place and make them
you
manage
have to think of the stakeholder committee this year had it a lot harder than the stakeholder committee last year, even if it was headed by the same person, JJ. Because even when you look at last year's time frame, it was so short. People were like, oh my gosh. This year's time frame was ridiculously short.
Right.
The stakeholders committee literally had days or weeks to organize very massive shows.
Yeah.
And these are not people who do this. It's people that don't
and
grasp the concept of how much work it takes.
Yes.
I put on one concert in my entire life, the Divas Live. That was the hardest thing I have done to date. This thing takes up so much of your time, dealing with the promoters, with the artists and their management and the stage and the sound and the environmental health. It is a lot of work, and you need to put some kind of plan in place to address all these issues.
Well, Kami, it was a pleasure having you. We're going to talk
over
again.
Time, aren't we?
We are way over, but it was too much fun. I must confess, it was too much fun here. And we're going to have Kami some other time discussing news with us. HCS News Editor and producer Kami Joseph. Thank you very much. And for those of you who tuned in to watch the show, thank you. We'll be here next week, God willing, at the same time for another Press Club. But before that, I will be here on Wednesday, God willing, for Newsmaker Live. We have a very special guest. We're discussing men's issues. Stay with us or join us for that on Wednesday at 8:30. Until that time, I'm Clinton Reynolds. Do have a wonderful evening.